next gen racers. Introduced in Cars 3, their name implies that they are the new generation of race cars introduced to the Piston Cup, and that's where they stand. The next gens have been a controversial generation among Cars fans, and even though I'm not a huge fan of some of their designs, at the very least, they look pretty nice, and would you look at that, a top 29 racers will be. So for this video, I'll be doing a ranking video centering about every next gen I own. So this will be a lot of fun. Now, what are the ground rules? Well, just basically take a look at the 29 next gens I own, half of which belong to the film, with three of the NASCAR cars in between. So this will be a lot of fun, huh? Now take everything in this video as just my opinion. Your list will depend on nothing but you. So if you want to do a ranking list of your own, good for you. Do something that I don't usually do. Without wasting your time, let's get racing, shall we? Number 29, and I'm sorry, his name Garcia. Now, Gasket has never been a sponsor that I really cared all that much, but I do like the color palette and at least the idea and vibes it gives me with those cookies. So what happens when you take all of that and put it as one of the blend discs? Now you get this racer. Now this design overall looks pretty good. Nothing too extraordinary, but I do like how the lines look on him. But that's about it. The rest of the car just looks bland and wrong. Like, I get that the modernization is the sole purpose of these next gens, but come on, Pixar, you could have at least designed him a little bit more interesting. Like, some of the other next gens we'll be taking a look at aren't really all that well in terms of modernizing certain elements of their sponsors, but Dan pulls it okay-ish, if you want to say it like that. He's nothing too crazy, but nothing pretty awesome. So I guess he'll go in the bottom. But if we did a whole ranking list, a tier list, he would be placed in the decent category, since I think his colors look pretty decent against a design that looks amazing. So in the decent category he goes, because the only one that's in the not great category would be the Shiny Wax Next Gen Conrad Camber, who is, in my opinion, someone that I struggle to understand. But anyway, Dan Garcia has probably a pathetic, has a color scheme that looks pathetic with an awesome design to match. 28 goes to Michael Roeder. Now, Michael Roeder is one of the next gens that I have the least to say about. I mean, his colors look nice, but Buzine's never been a sponsor that I've been crazy about. Like, I like Ryan Shields and Buck Bearingly, but that doesn't mean much. And his color scheme just looks stare-ish, if you want to put it like that. Now, if I had more things to say about him, he would be placed a lot higher. But the only reason he beats out Dan Garcia is that at least his design looks pretty consistent with the rest of the Buzine racers, but that's about it. I have nothing to say about this car. He's just there. So moving on. Number 27 goes to Gogo Logano. Now, Fiverr Fuel is one of those sponsors that I love in the first movie. Brush Carver takes the almighty good category design. Like, his design is nothing amazing or anything, but it looks good enough that you can remember. So why didn't the sponsor return in Cars 3? I have no idea. But Gogo here looks like they did something great, right? Nah, he's only 27th position. Like, I like the colors they chose. A very lovely shade of yellow mixed with some light or creamish yellow to throw into the mix. But the main reason I think Gogo goes in 27 is, well, just the amount of red they use. Rush Carver in Cars 1 had a lot of had some red thrown into the mix, which wasn't little, but not too crazy or over the top. Here, Gogo looks pretty much drowned in red. Like, come on, couldn't they at least use some other colors? Like the light yellow or cream they put on the hood and the roof? I don't know. At least I like that he's a bit consistent with Rush Kerber having wheat thrown into his design. And you look at that, Gogo shares that same design, but overall, I think he's just okay. Not really amazing, but he looks good. So, yeah, he's good. Number 26 goes to William Byrev. Again, like Gogo, his sponsor was one of my favorites in Cars 1. That when we heard the NASCAR line was bringing him back, I was excited. And then the 2024 NASCAR revamp happened, and I got William alongside the full set of the NASCAR cars, and I just gotta say his design is decent, I guess. Like, it's not the worst design in the world, but I have nothing to say about him. He's just there for me. His color scheme is nice, I guess, with that kind of magenta-ish, magenta-ish color, with some gold thrown into the mix. I am really trying to sound like I want to say more about him, but he's just mid. So let's move on. Going into the 25th position is Cruz Ramirez. Now, I like main characters, but side characters are also fun and interesting as well. But Cruz, although having a nice personality and all, her Dynaco design just looks average. Like, unlike William, Cruz is the one that I just think she's looks average, I guess. Like, William looks pretty good. Like, mid, yes. But Cruz here looks pretty average, I guess. Yeah, there's nothing I can say really about her. So let's just move on to the 24th position. Coming in 24th position is 127 Spiky Phillips. Now, Spiky is a pretty interesting racer because his original release from 2018 with Synergy racer Eric Breaker incorrectly mistake him as Eric himself, and Spiky was the name that Eric had. Honestly, I kind of prefer their final names that we got. But yeah, so what do I think of his design? It looks pretty good. Like, I'm not a huge fan of just giving light dark two shades of the same color, but Spiky pulls it off in a pretty good manner. Like, it's nothing too crazy or anything, but it's at least okay. And I like that unlike Dan Garcia and some other racers we'll take a look at, at least the mascot of the company states, which you can see right here. Yeah, Spiky's pretty good. Not amazing, just pretty good in his design and color scheme. So in 24th position he goes. Number 23 goes to number 3 himself, Karsten Ace Dillon. Now, if you know me, I think his design looks pretty good, with a fade-in effect going from his hood, his roof, and even his sights. And if you know anything, I think he has a pretty awesome design. Like, it's not the most creative design in the world if you ask someone, but I think he looks pretty nice. Like, I like how he looks, and he really looks the part with those red rims, which I gotta say puts him a little bit high, but not enough. But hey, screw it. He is in 23rd position. He's not that high, but at least he's not the lowest rated car I ever take a look at, huh? Number 22 goes to Richie Gunsit. Now, if we went to Floyd Movie which will be one of the many reviews I have to do, you would probably hear me saying that I think his design is pretty generic. Like, it's average, but there's nothing to say about it. His Cars 3 design is, on the other hand, interesting, but his color scheme is just there, middle of the road for me. So why does Richie Gunsit here take much of a better thing? Well, because I like his design a lot. It's not the craziest design in the world, but he looks pretty good with those pills and the combination of colors from magenta to yellow, plus the already existing blue. So yeah, not the most creative colors in the world, but he looks pretty good, and he's pretty good. I really like him. Coming in 21st position is Bubba Wheelhouse. Now, Bubba here is one of those racers that I never thought much of their sponsorship at first. Transberry Juice, or Torqueberry Juice as it's been called in the NASCAR line for some reason, is one of those sponsors that I like but never thought much of. Lyric Gifts is my favorite Cars 1 racer, but not by much, as he's only just in 20th position though. So there he goes. And Marcus Cranksler goes as high as the number 10 position. Not the worst, but not the best. So why is Bubba in number 21st position? Well, if we go to his Cars 3 design, because I have the NASCAR one over here, his color scheme is just there. There's nothing to really talk about. Like, the bubbles and everything look nice, but there's nothing to say. His NASCAR variant pulls him off a bit higher, because I like how the colors look, but there's nothing I can really say anything about him that hasn't been said already. He just looks good in his NASCAR variant, and his Cars 3 design would be placed in the almost towards Dane Garcia's position of decency. So in 21st position, you go, Bubba. Well done. Number 20 goes to Jonas Carvers. Now, Jonas here is one of those racers that I like, but not by much. Like, No Stall is one of those sponsors that I like. Todd Marcus in Cars 1 and 3 is really good. I like the checker design on Cars 3. Todd, well, on the Cars 1 Todd, and in Cars 3 they really upped it up by mixing new colors into the mix. But Jonas here decided to go back to the roots, which, hey, I don't mind. But that's where my problem stands. If they really want to go back, why didn't they fill the checker design? I mean, why don't they give him white? Interestingly enough, his concept art showed that it was considered at one point having white thrown into the mix, so why couldn't? Like, seriously, if white's already on the word of the sponsor, the number and stuff, couldn't they at least put it? I'm not saying that they shouldn't have done it, but all I'm saying is, please, just fill me, please. And there he goes, in 20th position. Number 19 goes to Eric Breaker himself, one of the new sponsors introduced in Cars 3, Synergy. Lane Lock's design and color scheme in Cars 3 looks pretty good. It's nothing too groundbreaking, nor is it too distracting to the point where I hate it. So Eric had a lot to live up to, and did he pull it off? Well, his colors are nice. I mean, why another green next gen? Couldn't they at least give him yellow or some other color to just not make him just there? I mean, I like that he decided to ditch blue as his primary color. So, yeah, at least this hexagonal design is consistent, unlike Jim Reperick, the Carbon Cyber Next Gen, who ditched the hexagonal design that was present on Bobby Rogue Testa. Eric decided to stay consistent. I guess you can't miss with perfection, huh? So in 19th position he goes. Well done, Eric. Number 18 goes to Danny Suarez himself. Now, Danny here is one of the fewer next gens that I think has an interesting design. There's nothing too creative, but it's still decent, I guess. His colors is where Danny, I think, keeps the consistency. Bobby Swift's color in Cars. Well, sorry, sorry about that. Um, Billy Oilchanger's color in Cars 1 was a traditional orange with some yellow and black to throw into the mix. Bobby Swift decided to ditch orange as his main color and go with a purple plus orange combo that Danny kept consistency with, but his design is just decent. But his colors look nice, at least the consistency. So in 18 he goes. Not done. Not bad, if I do say so myself. Oh, come on. Another next gen that's Spoken Cars 3? Yeah, I know. 17th position goes to Chase Racelot. Now, Chase here is one of my favorite bite-only racers of all time. James Cleanair's design, well, it's simple. His color scheme is what really took him really far. Like, I like how he looks. And that's it. Rick Yardley decided to keep the traditional colors of Vitaline, but also adding gray into the mix. And Chase here decided to keep Rick's colors while also adding his own mix to the color, that being a dark emerald green color that's very much reflected on his diecast. And all I got to say is, he looks pretty good. His design, although not the most amazing in the world, as he and Ryan share a symmetrical design where one side looks different from the other, I really like it. So there he goes. 16th position goes to Sheldon Shifter himself. Now, Murray Clutchburn's design looked pretty amazing in both Cars 1 and 3, especially in the third film, where his design is pretty interesting, to say the least. So why does Sheldon share the number 16 position? Well, it's because I think his color is interesting. He ditched the original orange that was one of the colors that Spotter Stop had. He maintained the turquoise and white color scheme, but he decided to ditch that and the last color, which was orange, for a more interesting brown color, which I think looks pretty good. His design is pretty cool, and although not being the most innovative or creative design in the world, it's pretty good. I'll give him that. Number 15 goes to Herc Herbler himself. Now, Herb here is one of those race cars that I used to not love as much, but come to appreciate over time. He races for the classic four-wheel drive team. Johnny Blamer has one of the most funny and yet creative backstories I ever heard on a race car before. So there he is. Tommy Highbank looks pretty good. A nice evolution in contrast to Johnny Blamer. And Herb here decides to look pretty nice while still maintaining the aesthetic of an off-road company. One thing I will give Herb a bit of a kind of flag is that I wish his color was a little bit more interesting on his diecast. In the movie, his color is a dark green that looks kind of metallic, and I bet he will look nice in a metallic finish, but for what he is, he's not the worst design ever I've seen. In 14th position, and for the last time, this is one of the connections with a NASCAR actor in it, is Ryan Insight Laney. Now, Ryan Insight Laney here is our only orange representee in the next gen category. I get that. I don't know why they ditched orange entirely for a color scheme or color for a race car, since I think Ryan here looks the best. He maintained Speedy Comments colors of orange plus blue to throw into the mix. I like how his design looks from a top, where he looks kind of like a present wrap, and he looks pretty good. So there he goes in 14th position. So there he is. Coming in 13th position is Barry the Pedal from RPM. Now, RPM's racers Winford Bradford Rutherford and Bruce Miller are pretty similar, yet still with their differences here and there. Like, I like how they both look with that nice color combo of yellow plus blue and orange that they both had. So Barry decided to go a different route and instead go with the indigo, which I gotta say looks good on him, but there's nothing I can say really about his main color. His secondary colors look pretty nice, but nothing I can say really. He's just really good looking. In the number 12 position is Tim Treadless, one of the first Next-Gens Mattel released, and therefore all the racers that preceded him have been classified as the Team Treadless model. Which, if you look at that, it's similar to how Aiken Axler, the Cars 1 racer for Nitrate, was also the first, and therefore every racer that preceded him had it was classified as the Nitrate mold. So, yeah, Tim Treadless is his color scheme. Well, let's just talk about it, since his design is really good, and I really like it. His color scheme is where things get interesting. Like, he maintained the orange and white combo, but instead of keeping a black color scheme, he decided to go with a dark brown color, which is like the second time we seen a brown racer. Sheldon's is the second one we taken a look at, since Tim was the first. And I gotta say that the Fiery 28 looks pretty good. So there he goes in the 12th position. Number 11 goes to Noah Gosek, the Clutch 8 racer from Cars 3. Now, Kevin Shefright is one of my favorite racers in Cars 1. His color scheme looks pretty nice, and I like how he looks. Dino Dravsky, on the other hand, just looks kinda mid to me. So why is Noah as high as he can in the 10th, as in the 11th position? Well, because I like his color scheme. I'm not a huge fan of the over-the-top green plus blue color scheme that some of the racers have, but on Noah's case, he looks pretty good. I like how the minuses and the pluses look on him, and that's about it, really. There's nothing I can say about him other than he looks pretty good. Coming in the 10th position and in the top 10 is Chris Roman, one of the newer sponsors in Cars 3. Now, Combustor looks pretty good. Chip Gearings was one of my favorite racers in the veteran slot. So is Chris even that close? Well, yes. Thanks for asking. His design is very creative. Matrices, a very pixelated design with some nice colors. Like, I don't know why they decided with a light blue. Like, white could have been better, but anyway, his design is pretty creative, like I said, and I like how he looks. So there he is in the 10th position. Number 9 goes to Paul Conrad himself. And would you look at that? A white racer! Yippee! Now, the Apple racers are never been a hot topic that I've been trying to say they deserve better. Like, I like JP Drive, but there's nothing I can say really about him. And almost the same could be said about Paul Conrad, but in reverse, since I like his design. And his color scheme looks pretty good. White plus the red and blue combo looks pretty good on him. And I gotta say, if it ain't broken, don't fix what isn't broken, huh? Coming in 8th position and nearing almost the top 5 is Will Rush, one of the Next-Gens that was first released in 2021 as one of the finals. So is Will any good? Well, I like Vinyl Toupee as a whole. Krusty Rotor is pretty much my favorite racer in Cars 1, while Rev Roaches is kind of a dead last for me, since why did the design look so good, but his color scheme is just there. And Will is no exception, since his design looks pretty okay with a pretty nice color scheme. So there he is in the number 8 position. Number 7, and only In the number 7 position is Jackson Storm, the main antagonist of Cars 3. Now, Storm is not really my favorite of McQueen's rivals in the whole entire franchise, since that honor goes to Francesco Bernoulli himself. But is Storm any good? Well, yes, his color combo is nice. Black plus some blue to throw into the mix looks pretty good. And I like that giant S he has on his sides, which gives him the almost stormy feel that I really like. But that's about it. His personality is a whole other story where he's pretty much someone that you either love or hate. Number 6 is Cam Spinner, one of the newer sponsors in Cars 3, and honestly, this is the last one, folks. Well, one of the last, since the rest is Cars 1 exclusive things. Now, Cam Spinner is known for 3 things. One, his sponsor is a reference to another Pixar film, Inside Out. Number 2, he caused a big wreck at the Florida 500. And number 3, he was playable in Cars 3 Driven to Win, just like another next gen we'll take a look at. Design wise, I think Camp looks pretty nice. Those minty leaves look good on him, although we already have Spearmint, but we'll take a look at him later. And that's about it. His colors look pretty nice, but there's nothing much I can say about him. So there he goes in 6th position, just above Jackson Storm though. Coming in the top 5, we have Rich Mixon in 5th. Now Rich Mixon is already one of my favorite racers on Cars 3, and like Cam Spinner, he was also in Cars 3 Driven to Win as a playable character. Like, I don't understand why, but okay, I guess. Color-wise, I like how he looks. Those 2 shades of pink that he has look pretty good on him. And I like how his design looks. And I also really like how he still has the pink that Tank Coat always had. Like, the white's not even there anymore, but I like his design though. That's pretty neat. 4th position goes to number 4 himself, JD McPillar. ToeCap is one sponsor that you could say I like. Rusty Cornfield looks pretty nice in the first movie, and although Jack the Post is not bad, JD here makes ToeCap look pretty modern. Like, I like how the colors look. That the purple plus blue and lime green combination alongside the black look pretty good on him. Like, I like how he looks. I like his gray rims with lime green trim around them. So yeah, I like him a lot. So we'll see who takes the crown as the best of these next gens. Coming in 3rd position, and we're going into the bronze trophy list and silver and gold. We have Nick Shift as the 3rd and bronze racer on this list. Like, his design looks pretty good, and I like the different shades of blue that he has, and I like that he has a snowflake on his hood and on his sides. Yeah, I really like how this racer looks. Not much I can say about him other than he looks pretty good. Flipping everyone else into the 2nd place is Flip Dober, and this is the last of the new sponsors in Cars 3 that we'll take a look at here. I feel so sick and tired already. Flip here is one of my favorite racers. The white and pink combo looks pretty good. And Intersection is one of my favorite racing brands ever in the Piston Cup to come out of Cars 3. Now, despite only being in 2nd position, I think the number 1 position goes to Harvey Rothkap. Yes, number 1 goes to Easy Idol. Now, Easy Idol was not in my initial plans to put as number 1, but I think his design looks pretty nice, and I like his color combo. Now, his diecast is pretty inaccurate, as he's supposed to be a a black color. Not this kind of grayish color that his eventual diecast received, but I like how he evolves Easy Eye in a good way. So in first place he goes. So yeah, that was my entire list. Did you enjoy the video? Great. Considering subscribe to my channel to never miss when I upload a video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to share it with your friends, family, and other guys. I'll see you all in the finish line, so sayonara!